Water is life, and life is water. Water covers about 71% of the Earth's surface and constitutes of 62.5% of an adult human body. The same water, which is H2O, is chemically known as H2 plus O. Out of the total 71% of the Earth's surface that is water, 97% is seawater. Since seawater is salty, it cannot be used for drinking and direct use. Fresh water accounts only for 2.5 to 3%, which constitutes of rivers, icebergs, underground water and wastewater. But what is this water? Hyderabad is a city spread over 7,100 square kilometers and having a population of almost a crore. Hyderabad is one of the fastest growing cities of the country. The city boasts of a glorious past with the Charminar and the Hussain Sagar adding to its beauty. With the widespread IT industry, Hyderabad is home to a cosmopolitan population. Water is a basic necessity to each of these 1 crore people residing in the city. With each passing year, the population is increasing, and so the demand for water. In 2018, 452.76 million gallons per day will be required with 142.98 lakh people. The demand for water will be as high as 1,204.37 million gallons per day in 2041, with 317.40 lakh people. But how does this water reach us? How do we enjoy the luxury of flowing water and prompt avail when thirsty?
So issue is, one is having water, we don't have that much water. Second is having the water, whether we can distribute safe drinking water to the people. We are not able to do it completely. But where do we get that water? For example, for city of Hyderabad, we get water from Hyderabad Metro Water Supply Board from Godavari, which is almost is about 170 kilometers away, and Krishna nearly about equal distance. We pump the water, spend about 70 crore rupees of money per month as a power bill, electricity bill, and give water to people.
The water needs of Hyderabad is procured from various external resources. Water from Manjira River, along with Krishna and Godavari, is brought to the city. Himayat Sagar and Osman Sagar lakes are also major sources for drinking water. 70% of the total drinking water need is met from Krishna River, and the remaining 30% comes from Manjiram Godavari, Himayat Sagar and Osman Sagar. A raw water treatment plant is set up at the source of the water, which is generally a river. The fresh drinking water that comes from Krishna is sourced from the backwaters of Nagarjuna Sagar. The water is pumped here and a flow is sent further. The water is stored at the Puttamagandi Reservoir, which is almost 900 feet deep. Huge infrastructure in terms of storage, transport and technology pumps the water out. The enormously huge turbines, which are placed 600 feet deep, continuously lift the water to send it to Akampalli Reservoir. 4 huge pipes carry this water to a reservoir and then to the Akampalli Balancing Reservoir. The water gets an initial treatment and it further travels to the treatment plant. Kodandapur treatment plant processes the water in several phases before it is sent to the city. The first process that happens is that the water is aerated to increase the oxygen content in the water. Then pre-chlorination happens. Here chlorine is added to the water. After which the water is introduced to the flex mixer, where alum is mixed to the water. Alum helps remove the suspended particles present in the water. The sludge which remains at the bottom of the clariflocculator owing to the gravity, is further collected in a sludge room. The water reaches the rapid gravity sand filters, where filtration happens. The sand and other particles settle down. After the last round of chlorination, water is sent further for distribution. In the distribution channel, the water is pumped out. This water through large pipes and infrastructure, traveling distances of kilometers, reaches the city. One can see the distinction between the raw water and treated water in this picture. Because of leakage, contact with atmosphere, the water might lose on some of its elements, especially the chlorine level. Before the water reaches the city, master balancing reservoirs further make sure that the best quality water reaches us. Hence, once the input is procured, a second round of chlorination happens in the city level distribution plant. The personnel responsible for water distribution work hard day and night to ensure that water reaches us through our taps. He is called as the lineman.
वाल तक आना है और पानी खोलना ही खोलना है, वाल ऑपरेटिंग करना है और सप्लाई बराबर टाइमिंग पे छोड़ना ही है.
There are areas which are devoid of pipelines, but people do stay there and they also need water. Hence, in a month, almost 150,000 trips are done by the water tanks. As many as 943 water tankers fill water from the zonal water distribution plants and transport the water to such areas. 343 free trips are made every day to ensure that the citizens have avail to clean drinking water. Poor inhabiting in these weaker section housing areas store water in drums at ground level and carry them to their flats.
వచ్చిన నీళ్ళే చాలా జాగ్రత్తగా పొదుపు చేసుకొని వాడుకుంటూ ఉంటాము. వంటలకి అవే, తాగుతాకి, స్నానానికి అన్నిటికీ అవే.
The flow and input of water is constantly monitored digitally at the Hyderabad office of the HMWSSB. They are technologically equipped to raise an alarm in case of any disruption in a plant some hundreds of kilometers away.
ఒకవేళ ఎనీ రీజన్తోని లేకపోతే ఏదైనా సివర్ వాటర్ కలిసి లేదా ఏదైనా ఒక చిన్న ఏరియాలో చిన్న ప్రాబ్లం వచ్చి రెసిడ్యూయల్ క్లోరిన్ లేక అది దాంట్లో కనుక బ్యాక్టీరియాలజికల్లో కనుక అన్సాటిస్ఫాక్టరీ రిజల్ట్ వస్తే ఇమ్మీడియట్గా ఆ లైన్ కట్ ఆఫ్ చేసేసి వాళ్ళకు ట్యాంకర్స్ ద్వారా వాటర్ ఇచ్చేసేసి ఆ ప్రాబ్లం అనేది రెక్టిఫై చేసేసి మళ్ళీ క్లియర్ వాటర్ ఇచ్చినంత వరకు ఎవరు కూడా ఆగకుండా పనిచేస్తూ ఉంటారు అన్నమాట.
Choking and overflowing of drains is a serious factor contributing to contamination of treated water in the pipelines. If we can avoid this practice of pushing solid waste like shampoo sachets, soap covers, sanitary pads, diapers into sewerage lines, the choking of drains and pollution of drinking water pipelines can be significantly reduced. HMWSSB is also providing us another valuable service of treating all the wastewater we let into our sewerage lines. The Sewerage Board makes efforts to process the wastewater. One such plant is located in the Ambarpet part of the Hyderabad city. They collect the wastewater which is polluted by external elements and filter it. In the first phase, all the solid waste is manually removed. Barriers put in the water do not allow this garbage to flow ahead. Then mechanically, any such waste like plastic covers, wrappers, bottles, etc. is removed. The conveyor belt transports this and collects, from which electricity is produced later. The water is introduced to chemical processes in technologically equipped plants. Water is sent through more channels of filtration, sedimentation, and clarification. The USB reactors process the water, which is also manually filtered so that the water generated is of a certain quality. The Ambarpet Sewerage Treatment Plant has a capacity of 339 million liters per day. The water undergoes chlorination such that when the water is released, it is at par with the river water at source. This water is released into Musi River. This water can be used for industrial purposes and all domestic usages like washing, cleaning, and many more.
Total we have 18 number of plants in around the Hyderabad city. So it is essential to treat the wastewater before letting out into the atmosphere or letting out into the rivers.
HMWSSB believes in the motto that customer is God. Utmost satisfaction of the end consumer is its ultimate goal. The telephonic customer care is available 24/7, where any complaint regarding water and sewerage can be registered. The Water Board has an active presence on all social media platforms. It is accessible via its mobile application. Water, as we know, is a precious commodity, and still sometimes out of sheer carelessness, we tend to waste it. Out of 100% water distributed, 40% of the water gets wasted.
Now, how much of water we are able to utilize? I get about 430 million gallons per day. Unfortunately, not all the water we are utilizing. Nearly about 180 million gallons of day, about 40 to 46% of water is wasted.
Well-being out of waste, or WOW, is a joint initiative of ITC and GHMC implemented by MARI NGO to educate and motivate children to be the advocates of segregating dry and wet waste and also promote responsible use and conservation of water.
The present generation has lot of responsibility in the water conservation. It's better to start with the school children because they are the better communicators. They can talk about the importance of water and water conservation. They can share the idea of water conservation with friends, with their neighbors, with the family members.
Trees are life saviors. 1 acre of forest absorbs 6 tons of carbon dioxide and releases 4 tons of oxygen in the air. Trees help in increasing ground level water and even prevents flooding since it reduces runoff and sediment deposits. The state has well understood the preciousness of water. Haritha Haram is an initiative by the Honorable Chief Minister of Telangana State. This is a flagship program which envisages to increase the present 24% tree cover in the state to 33% of the total geographical area of the state.
కేవలం చిన్నతనం నుంచి పిల్లలకు కూడా ఒక మంచి ఓరియంటేషన్ ఇవ్వడం మాత్రమే కాకుండా కొత్త కొత్త సైంటిఫిక్ విధానాలు అవలంబిస్తూ సీడ్ బాల్స్ కానీ ట్రాన్స్లోకేషన్ కానీ ఇవన్నీ కూడా చేసుకుంటూ పర్యావరణ హితంగా ముందుకు పోతున్న రాష్ట్రం తెలంగాణ.
టోటల్ స్టాఫ్ 24/7 365 డేస్ పనిచేయడంతోనే మనకు ఈ వాటరు అంత రా వాటర్ని ట్రీట్ చేసి ఇంత సేఫ్ వాటర్ తీసుకొచ్చేసి మీ ఇంటి ముందుకు చేర్చడం జరుగుతుంది.
We need to essentially change our water use behavior and think in all the possible ways to save and conserve water.
So I wanted to conserve as much as water as possible.
This couple has been making exemplary contribution by reusing all their wastewater and rainwater for kitchen garden for the past 40 years.
Though I request all the students, look into technologies, research into technologies in engineering field or scientific field, you choose them and then try to provide technologies for India, cheaper, cost-effective technologies so that we can conserve our water from our taps, from our homes. Now, for India by 2050, we need anywhere about 1500 billion cubic meters of water for all our needs. That is irrigation and then drinking water, industrial uses and all kinds of uses put together. Whereas availability is about 1123 billion cubic meters of water as on today. To use, requirement for 2050 is about 1500 billion cubic meters of water, which means that by 2050 we will be short by something like a 400 billion cubic meters of water. So where are you going to get this water? It's not possible to get from atmosphere because that is the precipitation, that is the rainfall that is available, there is a potential of water available, which means we will not be able to get that water. The only way we can generate that water is reuse, recycle of the existing water, conserve the water and don't waste water.
Swear in the name of God. Swear in the name of God. That I am not going to misuse the water. I am not going to misuse the water. And I am not going to waste the water.